Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, some days I go through the news feeds. I tell you guys, every morning I get up about 2 and I go through the news feeds. I go through all the stories. I got about 4 or 5 different apps, all the trending news stories all across the country and the world. Some mornings I can't find a story that sparks me. Out of like dozens of them, I can't find one that really, sparks my attention. Today's the opposite. Today, I swear, every story I went through, it made my heart pound, made my adrenaline pump. So this might be kind of a rant video because it's one of those days where there's so many stories I can't keep one in my head. Most of them deal with what I would classify as right-wing fear-mongering. The right wing is seeming to go on these attacks on teachers, librarians, and now doctors. I found a crazy story on Right Wing Watch about Hillary Clinton, this right-wing woman claiming that there's a video out there of Hillary Clinton. She swears that that policemen have told her that they watched this video and they got nauseous. I'll put the link to this down below. It's a video, she claims it's a video of Hillary Clinton eating the faces off young members of our society. Going back to the Pizzagate thing, where do I even start with this? Okay, let me start at the very beginning. As you can see, I got a haircut yesterday. And if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you guys know that every day after I get a haircut, I come on here and talk about my barber. I have to admit this. A lot of people are going to ask me, why do I keep going to the same guy? I got to admit, once I've been in recovery, my life is going good. I'm happy every day. And I know that I'm in this routine. I wouldn't call it a rut, but a routine. And since I'm happy and things are going good, I'm very hesitant to change anything. I enjoy my life. Things are positive, abundant, and I don't want to change anything. And I'm very hesitant to go to a new hairstylist or barber. Why would I go to a new hairstylist or barber? If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, like I said, every day after a haircut, I come on here and tell you guys what my barber was talking about. And yesterday was no different. I walked in and he was on the phone. Nobody else was in there. And so I sat down. He pointed to the barber chair. And I sat down. The TV was on. So I didn't want to appear as if I was eavesdropping on his conversation, but he made it obvious that he wanted me to hear it. He does not know that I have this YouTube channel, that I am, a hardcore liberal, progressive, Democrat, or whatever. He knows I'm an artist and in recovery, but I've never mentioned the YouTube liberal part because he's such a frothing at the mouth Trump supporter. And a lot of the people that go there I just kind of sit back and listen. So yesterday was no different. It didn't take long. He was on the phone, and apparently he was talking to a friend of his. And they were having, and I could hear the friend on the other end. He clicked it on so I could hear the whole conversation. And the person on the other end was complaining about America and the healthcare system, which I can understand. Apparently he's paying $3,500 for a prescription. But it got into this. My barber started talking about white privilege. He started saying this sarcastically. He says, look, you have to pay $3,500. It's because of your white privilege. He was being sarcastic, that it's the reverse of that. What he was implying, it's the reverse of that because he's Caucasian, that they're having a hard time because he has to pay all this money for his prescription. And I'm sitting there and I am trying my hardest to pay attention, like to block him out and not hear what he's saying. And the rest of the conversation, I can't even say on here. He talked about his privilege, but then he talked about, conversely, other people, immigrants and other people in this country, and blaming them for his high prescription costs. It made no sense whatsoever. like I said, and I'm staring, and there was a news story on the TV about pizza. I think maybe it was National Pizza Day yesterday. I don't know. There was a story about pizza on the TV, and I'm trying so hard to block him out and watch the words they're saying, but he's just getting louder and louder. So once again, finally they ended the conversation. Of course, he came over and started ranting to me about $3,500 prescriptions, and it's all because of Joe Biden and the Democrats and the color of his skin. I don't know. All right, another story I want to talk about today. Fox News. I know you guys, nobody on here watches Fox News, and I don't watch it either, but sometimes stories pop up, and there's clips. I'll have a clip down below. Now, this story got me thinking. Apparently, the NBA is going to take Election Day off. Okay, they're not going to have. I don't watch basketball. The only basketball I watch is the Lady Huskies. God, here in Connecticut, we love our. We don't have any professional baseball teams in Connecticut. None. Major league. And the women Huskies are the guy Huskies too, but the women Huskies and Gino Auriemma, their coach, are we worship them here. Anyway, I don't really watch basketball in the NBA, but so this is the thing now that the NBA is going to take Election Day off, but they're going to hold 30 teams. I don't know if that's all of them. I obviously don't know a whole lot about basketball. They're going to have the games the night before. To me, it sounds like a good idea. You got to remember now, the NBA, it's a private business. It's a private organization here in America. They can do what they want to run their business, however they see fit. And Fox News is all up in arms about this. They are so upset about this. Now remember, this hasn't happened yet. And they're just guessing what they think is going to happen. But they don't think this is, they think this somehow serves the left. I think it was Brian Kilmeade that came on there again. I'm starting to know his name more and more. And he says this. He says it's not having the day off. It seems like a good thing. Less distraction, more people getting out and voting. Because people, basketball, all color people, all types, sexes, whatever. Everybody watches sports. But one of their talking heads says it's not taking the day off that really gets to them. It's the night before. Because he says that they're going to come on there and they're going to push their leftist woke ideas and they're going to influence people to vote Democrats. And he's so sure of this. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, they're so sure of this. And it hasn't even happened yet. But they're all up in arms and angry about it. Now, the undertone here, what I see is they're angry that they're afraid that more black people are going to get out and vote. They don't come out and say that, but that's what they're saying there, that idea in itself is racist because, who's to say just because of the color of your skin what you're going to vote, first of all. This hasn't even happened yet, but they're so sure that there's going to be woke politics pushed the night before, and it's going to push people to vote Democrat. And then I started thinking too, who's to stop? What sport is mainly Caucasian? I don't know, golf, NASCAR. Well, then they could if they want, they could do the same thing. Why don't they take Election Day off and push their politics, which they probably usually do anyway? It made no sense to me whatsoever. That it seems like a good thing. And then there were other stories in the news. Florida scares me. I didn't realize that Ron DeSantis has an opening. It's an opening for a state media specialist, a state certified media specialist. Okay, and this job hasn't been filled yet. And the job that job entails approving every single book that goes into any Florida school. Since nobody's filled that job yet, they can't put any school books in any Florida schools anywhere, period. So there's a big donation of dictionaries. I can't remember where it was from. I don't know if it was the American Legion or somewhere else. And these dictionaries aren't getting to the schools because they have to be approved first by a state media specialist, which hasn't been picked yet. Because, God forbid, they don't want anything to do with sex or race, God forbid, to get into the schools. So they're more willing to let the actual learning of their children go to the wayside just because of this fear-mongering. I'll have the links all to this down below. And then I looked up the proficiency of schools state by state. And of course, every single Trump state was at the bottom of the list. I don't want to say this, but the stupidest schools in the nation, Trump, all Trump states. Some of the best schools were in the Northeast, with the exception of Wyoming, I think, and North Dakota. I'll put the list up above, down below, so you guys could see that. Also, there was another story. Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to arrest doctors for gender-affirming healthcare now, a felony. So she wants to. They're going to arrest doctors for women in their bodies for gender-affirming healthcare. They're going after librarians, teachers. There's a huge lack of teachers in this country already. With school coming up, most school systems can't find the teachers to fill the classrooms. So I'm almost thankful that I don't have kids at this point. I'll have the links to all this down below. I'm sorry if I ranted today, but there's just so much clogging my head, so much right-wing fear-mongering that I couldn't just stay with one topic. I'll have the links all down below. You guys have a great Saturday.